Hello friends, welcome into the third video in our Back to Basics flexibility series. We're going to do a couple of my favorite moves for hips. We're going to learn our fundamental spinal flexion and extension, and then we're going to get down on our backs for some supine movement. So I'll give you that heads up if you're nervous about working on your back. Of course, most of the moves we can do variations of sitting down as well. So you might want to check out our movement library. And then for a lot of these, we, I think for actually all of them, for all of them, we have a version where we can be sitting down. So you can find that, you can learn those instead if you're uncomfortable with being down on your back. But otherwise, we're going to do some moves down there. And those I find, if we're comfortable with them, can be some of the most relaxing, stress relieving movement while also still working on our range of motion and lengthening our muscles. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. Let's go ahead and get started. I am in a 90-90 shin box. So it's a little split seat. I have my left leg out in front, right leg back behind me. We're going to start this way. Now, if we are tight in the hips, or my hip just without fail, my hip cracks every time I start one of these classes for us. If we are a little tight in the hips and we come to this spot and we're feeling a little uncomfortable, we are going to keep our feet in nice and tight, nice and close. That's going to help us to maintain a strong posture and give us a little bit of elevation in the hips. Want to say hi, Kike? She just woke up from her nap, so she's a little like... So we're going to go ahead and keep our feet close to us. Now, as you grow in this posture and your flexibility in your hips, maybe as we warm up a little bit, we might find that we want to come to more of an actual 90-90. So you think of a 90-degree angle with your legs. If we want to explore doing that, we just want to make sure our knees are able to press into the floor. So my knee, you can see here, is like kind of loosey-goosey and wanting to come up, right? Pressing knees towards the floor. And also we want to check in with that posture. Maybe I can come here, but I'm kind of like, whoo, my shoulders are rounding forward, you know? I want to maintain that beautiful, strong posture through the spine, rolling shoulders back and down. So if that's starting to go, I'm going to pull my feet in, give myself a little more secure of a base here, and be able to find that nice strong posture. So you know your body best. So you just kind of keep tabs, just check in with yourself, check in with your posture, see how you're doing, and then you can determine where you want to place your feet. But just to get started here, we can keep our feet tucked in nice and close. What we're going to do is we're going to work on a little fold from here. So starting with that left leg out in front, right leg tucked behind, we're going to really focus on loosening up our left hip, especially that hip flexor as we lean forward into this. So you can go ahead, adjust your feet as you like, find where that feels awesome for you today. We're going to bring our hands to our left shin, and we're going to let our elbows go left to right wide here as we lean forward. So to start, we're going to keep a nice flat back. We're just going to lean into this, and my hips are a little tight today. So right away, my hip flexor is talking to me. You might feel the same thing. So you can just pause here, breathe deeply. Maybe we add in a little rocking motion left to right, kind of moving through a little bit of a half circle. We're just going to start to loosen up and relieve a little bit of that tightness our hips might be feeling. Good. Now I'm going to bring my hands to the floor in front of me here, and we're going to move through a fold. So we're going to fold forward and really feel the stretch in that left hip. Now you might come here and be like, Kate, I already feel a big stretch in my left hip. Amazing. You're going to stay here and you're going to keep breathing deeply. If we want a little bit more, maybe we walk our hands forward a little bit, getting a little deeper into the stretch. So you decide how deep you go into the stretch. You could even, if it's in your range today, you could come down onto your elbows. Experiment with that. You can rest your belly on the top of that left leg. Maybe you bring your forehead all the way down to your hands, and we come into this full expression of this fold. But if that's too much, I want you to pause at whichever spot this feels amazing for you and for this left hip. And when you find that spot, go ahead and pause. We're going to pause here for 3 deep cycles of breath in and out, nice and slow. And then we're gonna nice and easy make our way up. We're never gonna kind of pop out of a move, right? We're not gonna rush that transition. I want you to think of your time working on your flexibility as slowing down, all right? So we're not doing anything high intensity, nice and easy. We're gonna come out of that move in a way that shows that you care about this time you set aside and you care about your body, right? We want to be nice and careful, nice and gentle. Now we're going to switch to the other side, and to get there, we're going to come through what we call some windshield wipers. So we're going to go ahead and bring our hands behind us. You can be up on your fingertips for support here, or maybe on your palms if you want to give yourself a little bit more space. We just don't want to dump our weight into our shoulders. We want to pull our shoulders down and have a nice open chest. We're in this 90-90. I'm gonna keep my feet where they are, but I'm gonna bring my knees up, feet flat, and then over. So we're getting an inner and outer rotation through the hips, bringing your knees up, and then over back to the left. We're just gonna do this a couple of times, pausing in each side, breathing deeply, knees up, over to the right. Ooh, one side might be a little tighter. The right is definitely a little tighter for me. Knees up, over to the left. There's all kinds of popping and snapping going on. Knees up and then over to the right, and we'll gently make our way to our shin box or our 90-90 on this side. So adjusting our feet as need be. Now my right leg is out in front, left leg is tucked back behind me. I'm just gonna pause and find my nice strong posture on this side. For me, this side is a little bit tighter. It's a little tighter for my left hip to be here. So just take note of that. It's gonna be different left to right with the hips. So just acknowledging that, and then we can kind of work from there. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. We're a little imbalanced. We use one side a little bit more than the other, and we're just gonna kind of find those inconsistencies as we work from left to right. And so that's okay. It just means we'll give that side a little more tender care, right? So find your good, strong posture. Find that adjustment with your feet, making sure our knees are pressing down to the floor. And then I'm gonna bring my hands to this right shin, and I'm gonna start to lower down just halfway, maintaining that nice flat back, letting my elbows bend. Starting to feel that stretch in the right hip. And then I can add in that gentle rocking side to side. I wish you could see what I see on the other side of the camera, because Kike is in her little cat house and she's sticking her head out the window and just staring at me. She was sleeping when I was filming earlier, but now apparently she's like, what exactly are you doing, Mom? Good. Now I'm gonna bring my hands to the floor in front of me, and we're gonna do the same thing on this side, but again, it might be a little different. So just be patient with yourself. Maybe on this side, we wanna just stay up high. Maybe it's feeling a little tighter, or maybe we have more range and we can come a little farther into this. Walk your hands out as far as you like. I don't want you to feel pain in this hip. I want us to find our comfortable edge. So it is definitely gonna be a stretch, right? But there's a difference between really feeling that big stretch and feeling actual pain. So I don't want you to feel pain. But when you get to that good spot, I want you to take a few cycles of breath. In fact, we're gonna do 3 again on this side. 3 deep breaths, nice and slow. and then with care, nice and easy, we're gonna work our way back up to that nice, strong posture. Whew. Amazing, amazing job. We are gonna come forward now, so you can place your hands over towards the right, and we're gonna transition through a tabletop. So we haven't talked about a tabletop yet together in this Back to Basics series. I talked about in the introduction about joint placement and how important that is, and how we're going to probably hear the language, the phrase a lot, stacking the joints. So this is going to be an example of that. Now for a tabletop, depending on how tall we are, depending on how long our legs and arms are, it's going to look a little different for everyone. My table, I'm kind of fairly short and short-limbed, so my table can look a little bit like an actual table, like a little bit of a square, but you might find that your table looks completely different. And so rather than focusing on what it looks like, that I want us to really focus on that joint alignment. So you're going to try to bring your wrists in a line underneath your shoulder. So we're not putting them forward, we're not like leaning forward here like that. We're going to try to find that good alignment and spread your hands wide. Try to press into all 10 fingers like you're playing the piano. And we're going to bring our knees underneath our hip points, about underneath. So again, we're not leaning booty back, we're not leaning forward. We're going to just try to find that nice alignment. And now, once we establish all of that, we might find we're kind of resting like this, right? So we've got our lower back has a little bit of a dip. I'm going to move this because it can be kind of hard to see. There we go. Okay. So our lower back has a little bit of a dip, right? That's when we're going to pull belly button in. Remember that lengthening down of the tailbone we talked about in our standing? We can apply that here too. So pulling belly button in and lengthening down in the tailbone. You can see my lower back now is supported. So we don't want to put undue strain on our lower back. When we come to a table, this is the nice sturdy foundation we want to establish. Of course, I'm looking over at the camera. You might be peeking at me as well. But for the most part, we want to maintain a nice neutral neck. So looking down at the floor, maybe about in between your hands. So we're looking maybe a little forward from that. So we're keeping a nice straight line through neck and back. Now this is a lot of work, just establishing this table, right? We're gonna press out away from our palms, pull shoulders down. So we're not cramping our shoulders up by our ears. We're making a little bit of space here. We're gonna move into our spinal flexion and extension. So on a big breath in, now we're gonna intentionally come out of this strong table. We're gonna drop belly down. Let your tailbone come up. You're going to look forward, maybe up slightly, depending on what feels good through your neck. Pull your shoulders down away from your ears. We're stretching through the throat. You can hear the change in my cadence a little bit here. Breathe deeply. Feel that stretch through the belly, that stretch in the lower back, opening up in the chest. On your next exhale, starting with your tailbone, we're going to think about this catching a wave through the spine. We're going to round through the back. You're going to pull belly button up and in. You can tuck your chin to your chest. So we get this big lengthening through the back. Press out of your palms to get deeper into your mid-back. You can press into the tops of your feet. Breathe deeply. Now we're going to catch a wave on our own, all right? So your own timing. Big breath in, drop your belly, look up. Exhale, reverse, catch that wave. We're going to, once we get used to this movement, we can kind of start to add a little gracefulness in the transition. Big breath in, drop your belly, look up. Exhale, round through the spine, catch that wave. We're going to match the movement with our breath. This is a fundamental flexibility move for a flexible, healthy, strong spine. relieving tension in the back. It's one of our favorites. You're gonna see this all the time in my videos. One more cycle. Inhale, look up. Exhale, tuck your chin to your chest. And come back to our nice neutral tabletop. All right, one more brief little move I'm gonna show you before we go onto our backs. You're gonna bring your big toes to touch, big toes kiss. Knees come as wide as your mat. If you're not on a mat, they're gonna be about shoulder width apart. And then you're gonna sit back on your heels. So this is a nice, gentle stretch, gentle opening for the hips. Alternatively, you can check out on our movement library different modifications for this, but you can bring your knees together if you would like a little break for the hips. So totally up to you on that one. We're gonna reach our hands forward, bring our forehead down to the floor. So in this version, we're gonna keep our elbows down. Resting elbows down, breathe deeply. If you want, you can rock left to right on your forehead. Should feel nice. This is such an amazing stretch for hips and back and shoulder, but also it's such a nice stress reliever. This is just kind of like our place to just relax and let go. Take 2 deep breaths in and out here, nice and slow. This is one we're going to see a lot, and this is one that we can add a lot of expression onto, but this is always going to be the foundational one that we're going to come back to. One more big breath in, and then exhale. We're going to slowly walk it on up. Take a moment to transition, and then we're going to come to lie flat on our backs. So feel free, if you like, to grab a pillow or a blanket if you want something to cushion your head. I'm going to use my pillow for that very reason. And then nice and easy, we're going to transition down onto our backs. And when you get there, you're going to hug your knees up to your chest. And real quick, we're just going to check in with our neck. So if you have a pillow, it's a little easier to make sure that your neck is nice and comfy here. But we want to just make sure that our neck is supported. So we don't want to be kind of holding it at a weird angle. When we work on the floor, sometimes it's really easy for that to happen. So just make sure your neck is nice and supported, maybe tucking your chin slightly to lengthen through the back of it. And then we're going to hug our knees up to our chest. You can rotate your ankles one way and then the other, and then you can rock side to side. Should feel awesome on your lower back. Again, these supine or moves down on the floor on our back are some of the most relaxing. We see these a lot in my tension relief class. So if you love these, you can check that out. It's super relaxed and just focused on relieving stress, which we might find a lot of these moves just kind of naturally do for us. Good. Now we're going to interlace our hands and hold on with them to, that made no sense, but you know what I mean. Hold on to our left leg, pulling that towards us. We're going to extend right leg out, bring it down to rest on the floor. So gentle, gentle hip stretch. We're just going to gently pull left knee towards us. You can stay active in your left foot. So that means that my toes are kind of pointed towards me, so I could press my foot flat into a wall, or a floor, I guess. We're just gonna breathe deeply here for a second. And then we can go ahead and switch. We're gonna bring right knee in, interlace hands around it, and then extend left leg out, and just gently pull that right knee towards you, getting a nice gentle stretch for the hip as well as the glute. Good. And then you can go ahead and bring your left knee back up. We'll hug our knees towards us again. And we're going to move into a supine twist, one of my very favorite moves. We're going to guide our knees over together towards the right. Let them fall towards the right. Ooh, right away. That's such a big twist through the spine, right? Big, big twist for the hip. You want to add on to this a little bit. You can stay holding on to your legs with your right hand. Extend the left arm out by your side, palm face down. Trying to pull that left, I think I said left hand. Left hand comes out. Trying to pull that left shoulder down towards the floor. And to add one more little step onto this, you can turn onto your left ear. Go ahead and look at your left hand, or you can close your eyes here for a couple of cycles of breath, nice and slow. And then we're going to go ahead and come out of this. We're going to bring our knees together through center. Use this as an opportunity to give your low back a nice little massage again, and then bring your knees over to the left, guiding them with your left hand. Oh my goodness, that feels so good in the hips. And then we're going to go ahead and bring right arm out by our side, palm face down, turn onto your right ear, and take a couple cycles of breath, nice and slow. And then we'll go ahead and come out of that. I could probably stay there all day and just take a little nap. We'll hug our knees up to our chest one more time. And then we're going to drop our feet onto the floor. We're going to do a little figure four. So there's so many variations of the figure four. This is the supine one. And we're just going to do the very, very basic move. This is one that we will see a lot, and I add on to this. But we're just going to cross left ankle over right thigh. And I'm going to use my left hand to press into my left thigh. So you guide how deep you go into this, but as you press against that leg, you're going to get a little deeper stretch into that left hip. And of course, this is a nice stretch for the entire lower body. It's stretching the inner thighs, and it's getting a little stretch for the glutes as well. Just pause here. Take a nice big breath in and out. And then we can unwind when you're ready. We're going to switch to the other side, crossing right leg or right ankle over the left thigh, and then using your right hand to press in to your right thigh. Great move for tight hips for sure. Big breath in. Exhale to release. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together now and let our knees go wide. So this is a variation on our butterfly. This is our sunbathing, napping butterfly, if you will. So we did this one seated. You might find it's actually a little easier to do this in supine if our hips are tight. We're just letting our knees relax. And you can even use pillows or yoga blocks or something like that to kind of hold your knees up if you're really struggling with that opening in the hips. And again, you can kick your feet out, make more of a diamond shape with your legs if you are struggling with this. The closer we bring our feet towards our booty, the more of an opening we're going to get in the hips, so you adjust as you need to. You can bring your hands to your hip creases if you like, maybe give them a little massage, just a little reassurance as they move through this big stretch. And if you like, you can bring your hands out, maybe as like a little football goal post, if you will, pulling our shoulders down to the floor. So this is really going to give us a nice opening in the chest, pulling the shoulder blades down, a little scapula moment here. Your low back might be coming off the floor, and that is okay here. We're just going to let it take its kind of natural alignment. Great opener for the shoulders and the hips, but also a very relaxing stretch. If you like, you can rock your head left to right. This is our last move for today. So we're gonna just enjoy this for a few deep breaths. In fact, let's pause here, take 3 cycles of breath, nice and slow. And then nice and easy, we're going to bring our hands, we're going to close our knees like a book. And then you can go ahead and make your way back up to a seat, nice and easy, so we don't make ourselves dizzy, so we don't see stars. Maybe you bring your knees over to one side and then gently push up. See what your hair is doing. Mine got super crazy. But that is it for today's back to basics of flexibility. We have 2 more left in this initial series. So next time we're going to do a little bit more for shoulder stability. So we're going to add on to what we've learned. It's going to be super fun. Thank you so much for showing up and for sticking with this program and for being so consistent. Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to have you here. I'll see you next time.